everyone, and welcome to Off the Rack. I'm Sal.
I'm Ben.
Tiffany.
We're back from New York Comic Con, and we're finally ready to start reviewing some books that came out last week. Today we're talking about The Clone Conspiracy #1, written by Dan Slott with art by Jim Cheung. This is a huge event. Make no mistake about it. This is so huge it requires letters to be written to retailers and fans alike. You didn't order enough copies. You didn't pick up enough issues. You have to pick up this book to see the groundbreaking, earth-shattering reveals that are in this issue. What'd you guys think of this book?
I resent you for making us read this.
This is horrible. I don't understand. If you told me 5 years ago that Dan Slott would be writing a story that would be like an apology to the Clone Saga with Jim Cheung on art, I'd been like, hell yes! This is terrible in every respect. Yeah. The art is confusing. It required not only a Reddit thread, but then a copied of the Reddit thread article by Comic Book Resources to try and isolate who exactly is dead in that flashback Peter Parker has about, like, all the dead people that he's responsible for.
Yeah, I didn't.
No, you cannot tell who the hell anybody is.
I literally was like, Uncle Ben, Gwen Stacy,
Uncle
moving
Ben,
on.
And that's it.
I got more than a few. I was like, hey, Nathan Lebensky. Hey, Silver Sable. Hey, that must be his parents.
I also recognize Silver Sable. There you go. I got 3. And
who, by the way, isn't even really dead.
What?
Okay, let's talk about the art first of all. Let's just kick things off with the art. I love Jim Cheung's pencils. I think he does an amazing job. And I know that from reading Avengers the Children's Crusade, from New Avengers Illuminati. Mm-hmm. He does dynamic imagery. He does really, really cool, subtle character work. But everybody does suffer from what's known as Cheung face, which is everybody has a very similar facial structure.
Well, yeah, because it's all like this beautiful, symmetrical face.
Yes.
Even the rhino.
Even the rhino. That said,
I've never seen a more beautiful rhino.
Except in nature. But that said, you know, I think that this was wanting, and it could be from it could be from inks, it could be from coloring, but for some reason, this is every new issue by Jim Cheung is beautiful for me, except this issue. I don't know what it is.
Maybe because the entire comic itself was kind of mundane.
Yeah, it could be.
It was unremarkable.
Yeah.
And I think the color suffered, because it was, I mean, like, to be fair, tonally, the beginning of the book is very down.
Well, not only down.
The colors are not bright, and they're not, you know.
That's true. It's supposed to be muted. You're supposed to feel like that.
So I'll give them that.
Right.
Out of the gate. Like, I will definitely give them that. But the art was, I guess, the best part of it. But, like, even that, I was like, I've seen it before.
Right! He addresses, you know, I've fought Electro before, but this is a new Electro, so she'll fall for the same old tricks. That's my favorite part of this issue. Yeah. Was him being like, let me try an oldie but a goodie against somebody who has electricity powers for the first time. That's great. But it doesn't make up for
the rest of
this book.
On this show,
yes,
we have talked about people negatively.
Yes, we have referred to creators negatively.
Enjoy doing.
No, we're not like, hey, let's get on the internet and talk about how much this person sucks.
Right. I don't like that.
No.
But we do it because we want it to be better.
And because, like, we're not gonna lie about how we feel about an issue.
Nope.
So what I'm about to say, I say from the bottom of my heart.
Yes.
He has to stop writing Spider-Man.
I think that's really the takeaway, is that Dan Slott has to stop.
If he ever wants to write a Spider-Man book again, he has to stop now.
Like, take a break.
Do something else. Go write a totally different character.
He's writing Silver Surfer and people love it.
That's what I'm saying. He's got to step away.
Yeah.
Because when you do it for too long, you can't see it anymore.
Yeah.
You're just in there, and you're in here, and you're not looking around, and you're not, like, seeing it as a whole anymore. You're just seeing what you're doing, because he's written some great Spider-Man, and I know the man has a love for this character.
Yeah.
And if he does, he has to let it go.
He has to stop.
He has to let this go.
I love the character as well, and I have to step away from runs that I think are terrible or make me sour on the character. I've had to do that. I've had to, as a fan, to step away from the character just because if I keep reading it, I will be sour on the character.
Yes.
Unfortunately, this has never been more evident than in the last 2 to 3 years of Dan Slott's Spider writing.
Like,
with a notable exception being Superior Spider-Man.
That was great.
Because he wasn't writing Spider-Man. He was writing
different.
Doc Ock as Spider-Man.
Yep, and so it was different. It was new. He got a chance to just try something. He had to look at it differently.
He was
a whole new person.
Yeah, he had to focus it in a different way.
He used to reevaluate the world that he's looking at. He doesn't have to do that anymore.
No.
Like, he's so focused on trying to improve something else. I don't even know if that's it.
I don't know what the focus is. I don't know what his direction is. I don't know if it's like a lot of editorial push. I don't know if it's him just having no editorial control.
Right.
I don't know if it's him having too much control.
I don't know.
But it needs to stop.
Spider-Man said things that I was like, and I don't even mean like because Peter Parker's kind of a jerk now. And I'm not even talking about that.
Because he really is.
I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about when, like, he looks at the webware.
Yes.
And he's just like, well, he explains it to us.
Right.
Out loud.
Yeah.
Like, he explains why he should be able to fix it.
We know.
You know, even if you didn't, like, create it, I know you're smart.
Yes.
You don't have to say... Why would you say that out loud?
Well, because that could be somebody's first issue. This could be their first introduction to Spider-Man.
That does not need to be said aloud. He says a bunch of other things. There are other moments when he's, like, as Spider-Man, and he explains things that he does not need to explain. And I'm like, why are you explaining this? The worst part for me, the worst dialogue for me, is after he defeats the Rhino and
Elektra, or whatever. It's Electro.
Electro. It should be Electro. It doesn't matter.
Yes.
It's gender neutral. And he's chasing after Miles Warren, and he's just like, nothing is going to stop me now. Or whatever he says, and I'm like...
Until I have my hands wrapped around your throat! You're like...
But, like, I'm just saying, like...
What?
You don't have to say that.
No. No one would say that out loud. Except for Spider-Man maybe 30 years ago.
Right? And, like, if that's what you're going for... Don't.
What'd you think of this issue, man?
I could not stand the funeral scene. That entire bit of dialogue when he's talking to everyone and apologizing and blaming himself and talking to Anna Maria, I'm like, no, this is absolute shit. I don't want to read this. I don't want to listen to you explaining, like, all the neuroses of Peter Parker and why he has such terrible guilt, even though he shouldn't have guilt for J. Jameson Sr.
For me, it's the inconsistencies. Because if you're a Spider-Man fan and you're writing and you're getting the opportunity to write a Spider-Man comic, we get that there's going to be points where you're going to be a fan. Yeah. And you're going to put fan shit in there.
Yep.
And you're going to do things that wouldn't work narratively because you're a fan. That's not what's happening here. Because he is getting things wrong.
Okay.
And that's the real rub for me. Where he is reacting to clones as though they might not be clones, even though we're directly referencing the Clone Saga. And in that Clone Saga, he dealt with thousands of Gwen clones, and none of them set off his spider sense. But for some reason, because Dan Slott wants us to care about this one Gwen Stacy clone, the spider sense not being affected by it is somehow indicative of her authenticity. Oh. No!
Here is the problem I had.
Oh, there's more.
And I know there's more. And Ethan's not here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to fill in for a hot second. And I do wish that Ethan was here. But before reading this, people are on Twitter, on everything, and they were talking to us about the difference between reanimation and cloning.
Right. What's the difference?
There is a difference.
Yeah.
There is an absolute difference. Frankenstein is a reanimation, whereas the Clone Saga was... Dolly the sheep is a clone, right?
Yes.
What they describe in that book is
not reanimation.
Nope.
And that is the problem I have.
Exactly.
Like, that's
You're not taking her body out of the ground!
No. And then trying to bring it back. They harvested DNA from her.
Yes, like a clone.
That's a clone. That's all that is.
That, like, before I read it, and you were like, there's no difference between the two. I'm like, no, you're wrong about that.
I am wrong about that. There is a difference between reanimation and clone.
Total
I meant there's no difference between what they call reanimation and what they call cloning.
What I can't, and like, who knows? Maybe they'll explain a little further how this all works.
Oh, I have no doubt they'll explain it a little bit more.
But, like, whenever I was like, it's just clones.
Yes. And who asked for this?
Right? Unless he's lying.
See, for me, I was like, wouldn't it be clever if it was Free Jack? And he was jumping, and he had this clone, because everybody who they referred to in Dead No More, that was resurrected through reanimation, came from the same pod.
I didn't read Dead No More.
I know. You come out of the pod, and you're like, oh, I'm alive, and I remember when I died, or right before I died. I was like, it's a time machine. And he's going right back to before they died and plucking them out of it, and then maybe he's replacing them with a clone body. You know? But where he's legitimately because Miles Warren's proven that he can make clones of anything.
Right.
So He's taking who they are and putting them back and then replacing them with the dead clone body. And so it really is the genuine article.
Right.
And what they're
and
taking...
the clone technically dies when they die.
Exactly. And I was like, that'd be kind of neat. But that's not what's happening.
He goes out of his way to explain to her that they gathered DNA from her remains, and then it had her memories. And I was like, first of all, that does not happen.
First of all,
that's not how memories work.
You did that already. In 2 clone sagas before this, he harvested DNA from Gwen Stacy's body and grew a new Gwen Stacy, and she had all of her memories. You did that already. Could Dan Slott pull a hat trick? Here's the thing. I've never seen him pull a hat trick. I've only seen him successfully execute stories. Or not successfully execute stories. I've never seen him go, I'm going to do something crazy, and have me go, oh yeah, and then have it completely work out. Spider Island was just like, wow, I'm interested, and then I was interested throughout, and I was happy with how it turned out. Big Time, same thing. But like, New Ways to Die, which was kind of his debut into Spider-Man, I was like, I don't like this, and read it all the way through, didn't like it at the end either.
As a creative and as an artist.
Yes, he needs to step away.
And it's hard to do that, like, when you're in it.
Yeah.
When you're a part of it. Like, even if you're just working on a piece. Like, let's say you're working on a painting or a drawing or something like that. Like, you are instructed by professional artists to walk away.
Yes.
You have to walk away. You can't just finish it. Like, because you are just so into what you're doing that you can't see the mistakes that you're making at that point. And it's only upon returning to it that you go, oh my gosh.
Have I made some mistakes?
I gotta fix this here. I have to balance that. I gotta change this.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you gotta flip the whole thing over. You gotta turn your painting upside down. You gotta look at it from there. You have to step away and come back with fresh eyes. And he doesn't have that anymore.
No.
And unfortunately, he's going to finish this.
Yeah, there's no time for him to be able to step away. It's got to come out.
Oh no, this is like it's over.
It's already done.
Like
he can't possibly change the ending now.
No, and my concern is he will not learn the lesson. The lesson he'll learn is that we're stupid. Like we don't get.
Or that he's brilliant.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know, but he won't see the lesson of he's too close to it.
Yes,
he won't. I don't think he'll see that.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, because I loved this guy. I was singing his praises. I have one of his books over there. Like, there's some books of his that I think are tremendous.
And we've talked to him. He's nice.
Yeah.
It doesn't detract from what he's done.
No.
It's just a shame because this does not live up to the greatness that we've seen from him.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I'm done talking about this goddamn book. Let's talk about books that are coming out this week that we're looking forward to reading. Ben, what's coming out this week?
I like the fact that Aquaman #9 is coming out because it's been fun.
Cool.
It's been a decent time. Written by Dan Abnett, art by Scott Eaton. The cover this week is by Brad Walker.
Wait, Abnett's writing that?
Yeah.
Oh. I liked his Guardians of the Galaxy run.
I liked his Terminator run.
Well,
I bumped into him at the DC Rebirth panel at WonderCon this past year. And I was like, hey, you wrote the only Terminator story that I consider canonical after T2. And that doesn't mean anything, but well done.
But thank you.
He was like, what? Because he wrote that like 1994.
I liked his Guardians of the Galaxy.
It was great.
I liked his Quasar.
Yeah.
And his Gamora.
Yeah. That Gamora's cool.
That I've never forgotten.
We've never seen that Gamora again.
We've never seen that Gamora again. And I've never seen a book written like that where it was like they did like the interviews.
Yeah.
And like, oh my God.
That rocked.
Yeah.
So that should sell you on Aquaman.
I know, that's what I'm thinking.
It's a fun story so far. Like he's really doing a good job. So I'd recommend you pick it up.
Is there a talking space dog?
I don't think so.
No. Well, there you have it.
well, there it is.
Exactly. For me, I recommend Vision number 12. It's ending. It's over. Vision number 12.
What?
From Tom King.
That's
and, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
and
Walter.
Is it going to be, like, is he finished? Is it a...
He has an exclusivity contract with DC. He's done.
Oh, okay, no, I was going to say, is this, like, a natural ending? Then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, he was planning on it being 12 issues.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, that's what I was trying to... That was what my brain was trying to put out there.
Right. Yeah, it's a fantastic series. Pick it up. Pick up the issues. Pick up the trades. I have the first trade, which has the first, like, 5 or 6 issues, which is like, no, just get the whole thing. What are you doing? But anyway, it's fantastic. It's easily one of the best titles Marvel's publishing today. So, go get it.
I can't wait for us to do a back issues on that.
Me too. Except I don't want to, because it's so great. We'll see.
Yeah.
I'll probably do it anyway.
Maybe we'll just have a conversation about it.
Yeah,
I've read
it should
both.
just be like Vision, robots. We'll talk about robots.
There you go. What's coming out is the inevitability of how I'm going to be, like, really upset after November.
Oh, yeah.
Because for some reason, over the past, I don't know, like 5-6 weeks, we have gotten 3 different Doctor Strange books. And this is the 3rd one that's coming out. It's Doctor Strange number 13. I'm like, you can't do this to me.
Yeah.
Because then there's just going to be like...
Because after that movie, they're going to be like, okay, well, we've done enough Doctor Strange.
Exactly! I'm like, you can't do this to me.
You should just be enjoying it as it's happening.
I am enjoying it as it's happening. I gotta tell you, like, issue 12 picked right up after the annual, which tied right into everything that's been going on. The Last Days of Magic is over. And I gotta tell you, this is one of the books that actually fits in with what they call all new, all different Marvel.
Wow.
Doctor Strange is all new. He is all different. I like how they got to this point. Like, I totally get it now. I get why this title is under that moniker.
Yeah.
But I can point to him and I can say that they did it. There
that
it
is
is.
all new. Vision is also all new.
Yes, that's true. But this book, this next one, we're getting back to brass tacks. We're bringing it all back to the Rogues Gallery. Ooh. We've already reintroduced Baron Mordo. Baron Mordo is working with Dormammu. Right at the end of the last issue, he ran into Nightmare.
Oh,
and on the cover of the next one, you have all those that I mentioned, plus Shumagorath and a few others. And I was like,
yes!
Shumagorath!
Oh, yeah.
I know!
I used to punch him as Ryu. The Marvel vs.
Yeah,
Capcom.
I know what you're talking about. Thank you. Still written by Jason Aaron, with art by Chris Bachalo. I really like this, and I know it has to go back to the status quo at some point. I'm just kind of enjoying the journey. I know not everyone may not be on board for it, because we're looking at a gentleman who no longer has the abilities he used to.
Oh.
But I think that's kind of cool.
Well, don't worry. They'll fix that after the movie comes out.
Yeah.
That's why.
No question.
That's why I think they're rushing this. I think they're trying to get through this arc naturally instead of just making it so everything's back to how it was.
Yeah.
And to some degree, I kind of appreciate that.
Yeah.
Like let him tell the story he wants to. He did have the 2-issue break.
Yeah.
Essentially.
To build.
Yeah. So I think they're just trying to get ahead of it, because issue 11 he wasn't on it, and then the annual Chris Bachalo wasn't on it either. So he had those 2 time frames, essentially like a month or so.
To make it epic.
Yeah. No, I mean like to get ahead.
Going.
So they can push issues out, which is clearly what they're trying to do for this. I think. I don't know.
Makes sense.
I'm just liking it and I can't wait.
Yeah.
Can't wait!
Well, it's tomorrow, so check it out.
I know.
So there you go, guys. That's us on Off the Rack. We'll see you guys next week with another episode. Thanks a lot for watching. And hey, what book are you looking forward to coming out tomorrow? Let us know in the comment section down below. We'll look forward to seeing your responses. And so thanks a lot for watching, gang. Bye.
If anyone says Dark Knight, I'm sorry, you're out.
Oh yeah, that's right. It is coming out. And Civil War 2. We didn't mention either of those books. Bye.
Wait, Dark Knight is still going?
Yeah.
They stopped it.
No.
Oh, that moneymaker?
Yeah, it is. By the way, it's a juggernaut. Every 6 months when it comes out.